My name is Michael Bodik, and I practice workers' compensation law in Florida. I'm based in Melbourne, Florida, and I handle cases throughout the state of Florida. I've spent most of my adult life in South Florida, and I love everything about the area. Melbourne is a wonderful city. You have everything. You have the beaches. You have a very diversified population, all different types of culture and things to do. One of the greatest career highlights for me was during my first year of law school. My sister told me she was pregnant at that point. My niece grew up and actually went to my same law school, and she graduated with honors. And as a legacy, I was able to walk with her on the stage and put the gold sash around her neck from her graduation. She'd also clerked for me briefly before she went to law school, so she sees me as an uncle and a mentor, and that was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. The biggest role model in my life, definitely without any doubt, was my father. He just absolutely was an amazing person. He immigrated to this country from Europe. He had absolutely nothing. He worked, he had such solid work ethics that he was able to bring his mother and both of his sisters to be able to live in this country and to be here. He just taught me every aspect of how to be a good person, character, ethics, morality. I just so fortunate and blessed to have a parent like that. There's really a bunch of traits that I think make for a successful attorney. One of those is they have to have a respect that they treat everybody, from their clients to their co-workers and staff, other attorneys. They need to have an aspect that they put in a solid effort, 100%. No case is too big or no small. Everyone gets 100%, and every day you give 100%. And you need to be sincere. You have to be able to understand what people are going through. You got to be able to relate, and in everything that you say and you do, it has to be truly from the heart. I actually started getting interested in law back in high school. The history class that I took had information about John Adams, our first lawyer who was a president, and he did some things that were unpopular, very unpopular at the time. He represented some of the British soldiers from the Boston Massacre and such, and as one of the framers of our country, he spoke and wrote highly about how important the aspect of every person being able to have an attorney, and it was a key component of a democracy and a free society. And I really felt that was a really honorable and important thing that I wanted to be a part of. Actually, one of my first experiences at one of my first full-time jobs when I was 16, I was working in a fast food restaurant, and I had actually my own workers' compensation accident, and I injured my hand back in the accident, and I became interested in it. But later on, it really dawned on me that people spend almost more time of their waking hours at work than anywhere else, and you see every type of injury from the top of your head to the bottom of your toe, and in every walk of life. And it was a tremendously interesting area, and is an interesting area, and I just love doing it. Regarding myself, one of the things that really makes me a good lawyer is that I do care, and I deeply care about each person. I don't see any client ever as a file or a number. I like to meet with my clients personally many times when possible, and I really care that they get through the matter and that they're all right. Well, I learned from my father. I'm a very hardworking person. I work almost all the time, and in that regard. When I'm working, I give it 100% of everything that I'm doing. When my clients come to me, the first thing I tell them is they're not alone anymore. It's not just them against this huge insurance company or company that they're dealing with, but they have me, and not just me, but a whole staff of people, a team here backing them, and that they're going to get through it, and we'll get through it together. Nothing but the best. Each client deserves that. Every client to me is like a family member. Every client I treat the same exact way as I would if there was a member of my family, and they deserve the absolute best that I can give them. Workers' compensation is a very difficult system in Florida. It's frustrating to a lot of people. There are delays, things that you would think are very common, like just getting a diagnostic test that maybe through group insurance you could get much quicker. They're waiting for periods in time. It's frustrating that period aspect, and even on disability checks, sometimes coming late or in the wrong amount. So I try to implore them that this is an unfortunate part of the system, but we will get through it. They have to try to be patient with it. The best piece of advice that I give a client is that this too will pass. When you're going through a very difficult period in your life, it sometimes seems like it's forever, and when you've been injured, there often are long-term changes and such, and people worry. They worry about paying their bills, they worry about the things that they might not be able to do, they worry about their careers, and I tell them that this will pass, that I've gotten thousands of people through the system, and together we'll get through it. So many memorable cases, but one that stands out for me as an attorney, the ultimate compliment you can possibly get is when a former client recommends you to a family member or friend, and I've recommended often many generations, but I had one client, it had to be at least 25 years ago, and he was a plumber, he had a severe back injury, he was around mid-30s, and he had to move back in with his parents. It was very difficult for him, and he became very depressed. He was actually literally on a suicide watch. He didn't see any future ahead of him. Well, as most cases go, it ended in a lump sum settlement. I got him a good recovery, and then I didn't hear from him for over 20 years. And about 20 plus years later, I'm in a different law firm. I switched firms a few times over that time period, and I walk into my reception area, and the gentleman says to me, he says, "Mr. Bodik," he goes, "you don't remember me, do you?" And he told me his name, and he told me his story. And he had a wonderful story. He had taken the money that he got from the settlement, been able to increase it several times over, met a wonderful woman, they got married, they had a daughter together. And I said, "Oh, that's so wonderful." I said, "What brings you here today?" And he points to the young lady sitting next to him. He says, "This is my daughter. She's been involved in a work accident. And I told her there's only one attorney that could represent her, and I tracked you down." It was it's a wonderful life kind of moment, and I can't tell you how much it meant to me and means to me still. I have a lot of hobbies, a lot of interests. I love traveling. I love dining out. I enjoy watching sporting events, especially my school playing football is especially a favorite. And I'm a big movie buff. I watch lots and lots of movies, but spending time with my wife, my family, my friends, that tops the list. You got to be true to your school. So, go Gators. I've been involved in a nonprofit charity for over the past 15 years. It's called the Friends of 440. 440 is the Florida statute that has to do with workers' compensation, the written law about workers' compensation. And what the charity does is it provides scholarships, both college, grad school, med school, law school, college scholarships to children of people who've been injured or killed in accidents. So they meet the academic criteria, but with their parents having been injured, it just wasn't the money put aside to help them. and we do fundraisers, all type of events, and then we give out these scholarships, and it really helps education, and it helps. If anyone here got injured and have children applying to schools, they should go on the website of the Friends of 440. It's a great organization. I know there's so many quotes out there from so many people, and most people will say something from some genius like an Albert Einstein or Madame Curie, but I'm a big movie buff, and I'm kind of a real fan of the ordinary guy underdog who succeeds. And I personally love the Rocky movies, the Sylvester Stallone Rocky movies. And in one in particular, I think it was Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone was walking through the streets of Philadelphia with his grown-up son then, and he's giving father to son advice. And he tells his son that nothing in life hits as hard as life itself. And it's not about getting hit, it's about getting hit and about moving forward and moving forward. And it's such, the reason why the quote, it didn't quote it exactly, paraphrased a little bit, but why it resonates with me is no one wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to be involved in an accident today. And the clients, when they come to me, they're at that point already where they're having a low point in their lives and stuff, and they're saying, will I ever get through this? And the point is, yes, you will get through this. Together we'll get through it. And just like Rocky says, you can get knocked down, but you're going to get up. It's about getting up, and that's what makes for winning.